Meeting called to order. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon,
Present.
Vice Mayor Cano,
Present.
Councilmember Ayon,
Present.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Present.
We have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, leading us in invocation, you could stand, you could bow your head, is our Vice Mayor Rick Cano.
Dear Lord, I pray that you guide us. You guide us always. Satisfy the needs that need to be met during this meeting. Straighten us as we make tough decisions. Father, please guide us so that this meeting can be productive. Let us be effective and decisive. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Now, can everybody please stand for our Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Councilman Ayon be leading us.
Ready? Salute.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as to form?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Gonzalez, second by Councilmember Ayon. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Ayon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, moving on to our feature pet of the week. Feature pet presented by Chief Knox.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, today we have Hazel. She is presented by Officer Bottoms. This is a 2-year-old dachshund mix. She is up to date on her shots and she's ready to be adopted right now. Somebody would like to take her. All fees will be waived right now. We have maybe a bidding war? No? No takers, but this dog will be available at the animal shelter if anybody changes their mind. Thank you.
Anyone? Roy?
To get that approved by my wife. She's the boss.
Curtis?
Too many dogs.
One more. All right, thank you. All right, moving on to presentations, introductions, and awards. Item number 1 is administration of oath of office for District 2 Council Member. Ms. De La Cruz?
Can you please come up, Maria Perez? And go up to the podium. So we'll be doing the oath of office. If you could raise your right hand up, please. And repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Maria T. Perez,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution
and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will and faithfully discharge
and I will and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Perez, go ahead and take your seat, please. And then we'll have a comment at the end of the meeting. Thank you very much. Now, moving on to item number 2, proclamation for Safety Surrender Baby Month awareness. Hold on, Ms. Rogers. Let me read this proclamation. Whereas the City of McFarland proclaims February 2025 as Safely Surrender Baby Awareness Month and advises all community members of planned events to highlight the importance of Safety Surrender Baby Law. Whereas the Safely Surrender Baby Law responds to the increasing number of newborn infant deaths to the abandonment in unsafe locations. First created in January 2001, the law's intent is to save lives of newborn infants at risk of abandonment. by encouraging parents or persons with lawful custody to safely surrender the infant within 72 hours of birth, with no questions asked. Since 2006, Kern County has had 103 babies safely surrendered. And whereas in Kern County, a newborn baby can be safely surrendered into the hands of the hospital, emergency room, or fire station staff. The Safely Surrendered Baby Coalition, under the coordination of the Department of Human Services, works to educate Kern County residents about the importance of law. And whereas the coalition is led by the Department of Human Services and includes a group of dedicated individuals representing a long list of agencies, nonprofits, hospitals, and stakeholders, including the First Five Kern, the Kern County Fire Department, Bakersfield City Fire Department, Bakersfield Pregnancy Center, Right to Life Kern County, Adventist Health Hospitals, Clinica Serra Vista, Kern Family Health Care, Cononia Family Services, Kern County Public Health, and Ridgecrest Regional Hospital. And whereas the February awareness campaign will include a live press conference February 13th, 2025 at Adventist Health Specialty located at 3100 Select Avenue, Bakersfield, California, 93308, beginning at 9 a.m. Over 15 presentations at this collaborative agencies throughout Kern County and public service announcements on social media, all in the efforts to alert their community about the Safely Surrendered Baby Law and as much better option than abandoning a baby. And now, thereof, I, Mayor Saul Layon, on behalf of the City Council of the City of McFarland, do hereby recognize February 2025 as Safely Surrendered Baby Awareness Month in McFarland and call the observance and the attention to our citizens. And we have Ms. Erin Rogers to speak on this. The mic is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate this opportunity to have this proclamation in McFarland. I've been here before for this event, and it's always such a joy. I personally know two families who have received a safely surrendered baby, and I know how it can change a family's life with great joy to have that child. When a woman is faced with a crisis and gets to the point of birth and doesn't know what to do, what we hope this law will do is prevent her from abandoning that baby in an unsafe location, like a dumpster or a restaurant bathroom or garbage can. And we are proud to say that since 2006, we have had in Kern County 103 babies safely surrendered. We recently had a big celebration in Bakersfield on our 100th safely surrendered baby. We gathered families from Kern County who have received safely surrendered babies. At a bowling alley, we bowled and we had pizza and we played video games, and it was just wonderful to see all these families together. The thing I'm most proud of, though, in working alongside all of these government and other nonprofit agencies, is that we have not had a baby abandoned in 4 years. And so that means this law is working and people know that there is an option. Here in McFarland, a woman can safely surrender her baby at the fire station, at the Kern County Fire Station. And they are equipped to receive that baby and to make sure that the baby is safe and safely placed in emergency foster to adopt home. And so thank you for your awareness. Thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Moving on to our next proclamation, 2025 Kern County Grand Jury Awareness Month. Whereas the grand jury is one of the oldest government institutions of our jurisprudence, devised to check the excess of English monarchy and to ensure the rights of the accused, and where the California Constitution, adopted in 1879, provided that the grand jury should be drawn and summoned at least once a year to each county. And whereas the California grand jury is an arm of the Superior Court, and whereas the grand jury acts as the public's watchdog by investigating and reporting on affairs of local government and recommending ways local government can be more efficient, effective, transparent, and accountable. And whereas the Kern County Grand Jury is the body of 19 citizens and its diverse group of men and women with a wide range of backgrounds and interests. And whereas the grand jurors make a commitment to serve a minimum of 20 hours per week for the term of 12 months. And whereas a new grand jury is impaneled in June of each year. I now therefore, Mayor Saul Ayon, on behalf of the City Council of the City of McFarland, do hereby recognize February 2025 as Kern County Grand Jury Awareness Month in McFarland, and I would call the observance to the attention of our citizens. And we have individuals here from the juries. The floor is yours.
Good evening, thank you. I'm Tom Pasick, and I have with me, wherever she is, there she is, Deborah Watson and Kelly Huckel, and we represent the Kern County Grand Jury. We are 3 of the 19.
Awesome, awesome. Can you give us a little bit of what you do as far as investigating governance and holding them accountable?
Yes, I'm happy to. As far as the city of McFarland goes, as good of an example as any, better than many. The 3 of us happen to represent the city's committee, and the grand jury is broken up into 5 different committees, and one of them is cities, one of them is law and justice, we have health and human services, we have admin and audit, special districts. And it's the responsibility of the city's committee to look at the 11 incorporated cities within Kern County. And we generally do that based on one of 2 things. We may receive some citizen complaints about something in any given city, and that might inspire us to, depending on the depth of the complaint and whether or not we consider it to be a valid complaint and worth looking into, we will then pursue it that way. In other cases, we will look at some aspect of the city only because the grand jury had not looked at it in a number of years. And we may opt to look at a certain department, be it a public works department or any other aspect of the city. Needless to say, it's impossible for the 3 of us to come to McFarland and comb through the entire city and decide that that it needs some help or doesn't need help, whatever the case may be. And the good news for McFarland, I guess, is that we haven't found any significant reason to come up here, and and that's not an insult; that's a compliment.
You would have needed about maybe 50 of you 5 years ago. But I'm not kidding.
But at any rate, we're pleased to be here, and we thank you very much.
Thank you so much for attending. Round of applause, please.
Amador, I can't see you. Perfect.
Our last award presentation is not a proclamation. It's I want to take a moment to recognize our first responders, especially our police department, because 99 times they could do everything perfectly well and efficient and effective. It's the one time where the public will jump on them for something they see on the video where it's edited, etc. But I want to bring up what's happened here in the last three decades. Well, obviously since like 2012 we've had about 20 homicides unsolved. We've never really had a detective. We're looking for grants, federal grants. We almost have a full-time police. We have a full-time police department, but we have people that are almost fully staffed, right, Chief? We're almost there. But I want to commend these individuals, not one in particular, but all our first responders for their exceptional work, especially for this homicide that happened a couple months ago. The corporal and the team and their staff, they were able to find the suspects under custody. I'm not saying it's solved because it's still going through this process. I'm not going into details about it, but they did a swift job. They used the tools that they have, and they were able to locate the individual. And I just want to give them a major compliment, because if you look now in our city, you see our kids playing at the park at 10:30, walking the streets. We have a lot of police, and sometimes they make the contacts, and they have to make contacts out there to see who's in our neighborhoods. But the one thing I want to say is this team did a great job with their teamwork displayed by obviously our law enforcement profession. When police care deeply about their jobs, this is how it resonates with the community. They find the individual. We haven't had, we've set up some task force with our neighboring cities, with the mayors and the police department. Our chiefs have good relationships. So they're networking, they're sharing information, resources, because what happens in Delano happens here. And not everything's going to be stopped, but a lot of things could be prevented. But I just want to recognize all the police officers for their hard work, and it's always a challenge, and they continue to rise to the occasion. McFarland prior had a black cloud over our police department. That's no more. We go to different cities, or I meet with different mayors, and we have an exceptional police force, from our dispatch, our police officers, our chief. Sometimes we go back and forth, but we're good. So the commitment is responding to efficient calls and responding with professionalism, and not just, and having community involvement with our kids, with residents. And they're not out there to write everybody a ticket. They're out there to enforce the law. But I want to thank you for their excellent and efficient work and keeping our community safe. And your efforts make a difference. And I'll have Chief Knox to talk about his staff, but I want to give a round of applause to our
Just add on to what the mayor said. Our staff did a excellent job. Since 1990, we have 23 unsolved homicides here in the city, and that goes back to when the sheriff's office had it as a contract city. This is a huge problem within our city that is being addressed, and it's being addressed by an outstanding staff that works together as a team. And this investigation was complete teamwork, although I will give a lot of credit to Corporal Galvan, who worked on this day and night and solved it within approximately a month. Just to give you a background, August 24th, Xavier Lopez was shot and killed here in McFarland. He was a resident of McFarland, and he was shot and killed over on Perkins. At the time, we had two officers on, Officer Casares and Sergeant Dewar. They called out our evidence technician, Jessica Lopez, and together they were able to control the scene, preserve all the evidence, and get enough information that the other officers could follow up later on. Corporal Galvan then started using our flock cameras and other surveillance cameras in the area, along with our dispatcher, Olivia Vello, who assisted him in actually identifying the suspect vehicle, tracking the vehicle down, and subsequently went to Delano and arrested Michael Mendez. So I would just like to recognize their hard work and everybody's work as a team in getting this done. So if I could have them up here, starting with Sergeant Dewar. Of course, I'm backwards, so. And Andrew Galvan, excuse me. Jessica Lopez. Olivia Vello. And we don't have Officer Casares or Officer Estrada here tonight, but just a round of applause for these fine people.
Ready? I'm sorry. Anita, I can't see you. Maybe right here between Mayor and. Sorry, you guys.
Shortest one, Mayor.
Perfect. Sorry, Anita, I have scatterbrain. Huh? I said sorry, I have scatterbrain. I was like, Anita, I like.
Okay. My apologies, but I forgot to introduce our interpreter, Esmeralda Delgado. Can you please come to the podium?
Good evening, Major. Good evening, McFarland Council. My name is Esmeralda Delgado, and today I will be supporting you by being the Spanish interpreter. Buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Esmeralda Delgado. Buenas noches, alcalde. Buenas noches, consejo de la ciudad de McFarland. El día de hoy estaré sirviendo a ustedes como el intérprete de lenguaje de español. Si alguien necesita de mi ayuda, por favor déjeme saber que necesita un audífono para yo seguir interpretando. Gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Delgado. My apologies. Moving on to the no department reports. Moving on to consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of items in staff's opinion are routine and non-controversial. These items are approved in one motion unless a council member or member of the public requests to remove a particular item. Is there anybody from the public that would like to discuss an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, is there an item that the council members would like to discuss or pull on the consent agenda?
No.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Cano, second by Councilmember Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to the administrative agenda. Item number 9, approval of resolution 2025-12, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McFarland approving the acceptance of a quote from I want to say Visalia Incorporated, but I might be mispronouncing that for implementation of road AI software for the city street department, authorizing the city manager to enter a 12-month agreement and approving a budget adjustment to the general fund. Mr. Yurles.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. Before you today is a resolution requesting approval to proceed with the implementation of the Road AI software or Road Artificial Intelligence. The adoption of the Road AI will give the Public Works Department real-time data of the conditions of our roads and any deficiencies in our roads, such as cracks, potholes, alligator cracking, etc., that need to be addressed. So before I go on with my staff report, I do have Nicole Parker here with Vaisala to provide a little bit more in-depth demo on Road AI. But before I hand it off to Nicole, I do want to go over kind of the process we have in the city to address any potholes. So currently what the city does, we had a PCI survey done on the roads, which was done in 2022. The plan is to do a PCI survey every 3 to 5 years. The problem with that is, one, it's expensive, and then two, in between the 3 to 5 years, we don't have real-time data of the conditions of our roads. So as you're all aware, potholes, they appear often and frequently, especially after rains or a lot of vehicle travel. So, and also the way this Road AI software works is it's a camera phone that's attached to the windshield of a driver or staff. You drive around the entire town. It picks up all the data, any deficiencies on the roads, and then when you get back to the office, it uploads all the data into a software or database. With that, staff is able to, issue work orders to staff and make sure we address any areas that are really in rough condition. So also how we also take care of potholes right now is basically by employees driving around the town and seeing if there's a pothole. We do have a feature on our website that it's a report a problem. So if a resident sees a pothole, they could go to our website and report the problem to get it repaired. Or any of our staff, whether it's mayor or city manager or Mr. Cano, giving me a call and letting us know there's a pothole. So the problem with that is there's no centralized location or cumulative report of the entire city's road infrastructure. This is typically done on pen and paper when we do an audit of potholes. And then also, not all streets are driven as often as the main road. So you may have a pothole that's in a small neighborhood or a small road that doesn't get addressed for, months unless somebody addresses it. So those are the downfalls of the systems we have in place right now. And also by performing the PCI survey every 3 to 5 years, which is not sufficient to be able to take care of and address our potholes.
But I'm going to share my screen because I see Erica's chat. I'm hoping you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
So with that being said, I will pass it on to you, Nicole.
No idea what was said before this.
Okay.
Hoping you at least introduce Road AI a little bit and the purpose of this. So just going to roll right into it. And hopefully you can see my screen. Awesome. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Nicole Parker. I work for Vizsla X Weather. Vizsla, just to give you a brief overview, is a weather tech company, but we acquired a technology back in 2015 focused on helping public works departments streamline their road surveying process and kind of put the control back in the public works departments for surveying their roads instead of contracting out. So what is Road AI at its essence is a app on a cell phone. And what you do with that cell phone is you put that on a vehicle that's already out in the network. We do have a lot of cities and counties using road maintenance vehicles that are already out in the network for environmental benefits. We don't want to put more vehicles out in the network. So some cities utilize street sweepers or trash trucks, sometimes police vehicles as well. But basically, you're taking a drive around your network, then you're coming back and you're able to see fully automated process of AI analysis of defects on the road, signs, line markings, so certain assets, all within a couple of hours instead of having to wait for months for already outdated data. So you're able to view that data in a comprehensive dashboard, display it, export it out of the system, and put it into an asset management system, or you're able to kind of just view that and kind of see where the hot spots are. So it's very much a streamline of road surveying processes. So this is kind of a video showing you the AI in action. We use a type of AI called computer vision. So what that is detecting objects through imagery. So basically how we train the system is we show it multiple examples of what a guardrail looks like, multiple examples of what a certain defect like a pothole looks like over and over. So millions of images, and then it'll automatically start processing and able to identify that defect pretty automatically. So you're seeing different colors popping up. Those are defects on the road. Signs are being identified as assets, street lights, line marking conditions, so all different types of things. This is a very agile type of AI, so it's never going to be perfect, and it's never done kind of evolving. It can really automatically detect anything. And then the idea behind our solution is actually taken from a very varied theory that the FHWA published, I think, in 2013, called the Early Intervention Asset Management Theory. And by giving the public works departments ability to go out and survey your roads more often, we're hoping to be able to catch defects earlier on in the deterioration cycle, so you're not waiting until the road gets to 0%. So you're finding it at 80%, maybe able to time, we're trying to save Public Works Department's money, and also, give back the control of surveying, your assets more often. And this is just kind of one of the, case studies, as you will. One of our counties actually goes out and surveys before maintenance treatment happens and after. So during construction season in August, usually that is. And they just want to make sure that the right work has been done on the road, and also, the PCI, aka the pavement condition index score, goes up. So you're able to see this kind of side by side of a road that's in pretty poor condition, and then after the treatment has been done. And then I will quickly show you one of our cities that utilizes Road AI right now. I picked a city that's pretty similar to the city of McFarland in size, and they're also in California. What you're seeing is our user interface that Public Works Departments will have access to. How we get the geolocation data and kind of organize it is based off the shapefile of the road network of the city. So we input that into our database, and then what you're seeing right now is an overlay of a PCI score of the entire network. They haven't done their entire network yet. They just started out with us, but basically what they get is all these different types of data points when it comes to the road surface condition score, and then as we're driving, you're kind of seeing different defects popping up that contribute to the lowering of the PCI score or the hiring of the PCI score. So Public Works Departments have access to this, and they're able to export this out, put it into ArcGIS or an asset management system to make decisions a lot more quicker, instead of, like I said, waiting for data to come to them. One thing that I really like that the city is doing already is tagging parts of the area that maybe have cosmetic damage that the AI might not pick up. So on this specific instance and tag, they actually went around and tagged a strip of road that was that had paint spilled all over it. So that was helpful for them to kind of quantify and see what areas needed to be, immediately tagged, or finding, kind of cosmetic damage and pointing that out. Eventually the AI will do this automatically, but there's kind of different ways that Public Works Departments use this feature with us. They tag where flooding is on bridges or different roads for drainage issues, and they can export that out of the system and be a little bit more proactive before a citizen, points it out to them. So again, kind of mobilizing Public Works Departments to be a little bit more proactive if there's issues on the road. And in other kind of things that we detect, I also mentioned traffic signs. So every time you drive, the AI is also trying to pick up different traffic signs along the area. So you do have that inventory pretty much automatically, and you're able to kind of go through a list of different signs if you want to prioritize, say, stop signs and condition rate goes. You can do that as well, just to kind of get a pulse on your network when it comes to sign management. And also the same thing is being done with line markings, striping, and surface markings. So for instance, turning signals or stuff on the road that's written. So we inventory those, and you're able to kind of go and monitor those over time. So yeah, is that okay, your lease? I don't know if I can hear you, but
Yeah, I think
anything else you want me to touch on?
that's perfect, Nicole. Thank you. Not sure if you could hear me.
I'll text you.
No, okay.
I'll text.
Can't hear you. Perfect, great, awesome. But any questions I'll take too. It was quick and dirty, so.
So she can't hear us?
She can hear us, but I'll be typing everything. Any questions you have?
Council, do you have any questions? We'll start with Ms. Perez. Concerns?
No, I don't have any questions.
Ms. Gonzalez?
No, just pretty impressed with today's technology. Pretty good.
Vice Mayor? Does it perform also like on street, the size as far, the deterioration on the street, lettering? You know how?
Yes, so it does detect pavement markings and their conditions as well. So striping, pavement markings, stop bars, crosswalks, so it does detect.
It's not gonna replace a city worker, is it?
No, it's not. It's just going to make us a little bit more efficient.
So it's about a 12,000 increase?
Yeah, so
Or 9,000 depending on the,
the financial impact for this to implement Road AI is an initial cost of $12,190. If we continue to do it, this is for 1 year. If we continue to use Road AI, it'll be $9,500 moving forward after the initial first year.
good deal. Bring this up at your lease. We know how costly streets are, especially with the pre-welding wages. Quarter mile costs about $1 million, and this could prevent a reconstruction of any streets since we're addressing a lot of our streets now. I think this is a good idea. Before we motion and vote on it, does anybody from the public have any questions, comments regarding this system? Go ahead. Can you state your name and address, please?
Gino Bras, 743 Cairo Avenue. With this program, it showed that it's going to do the street signs and everything. Is that going to be all up to date now for the city to get up to code?
Are you talking about the pavement markings or the actual
No, the
street
signs, how it says signs and then the road.
Yeah, so what this does is it takes an inventory of all the signage. So over time, as the staff is driving around with this Road AI camera on their dashboard, on their windshield, you can see the deterioration of the sign over time. So as we're seeing it deteriorate, we can make the determination to replace that sign. So yes, you probably see new signs around town. That is our new standard with the McFarland crest or logo on it. So eventually we'll replace all signs, but just a matter of getting the funding and proceeding with changing them all.
Okay, and then with all that update, it's once you drive around, it's going to all pop up, right? It was basically what it's saying.
Correct.
Okay, so what the city workers do already, it's going to just take away from when they're going to a job. It's going to take away them writing it down and stuff. What you're saying?
Exactly, and,
Okay.
and usually it would take a long time for pen and paper, drive around town, pull the guys away from doing what their daily activities are to doing a pothole audit throughout the entire city, where the guys are driving around town doing their daily task anyhow. So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone. They're doing their daily routine and also driving around town with the Road AI camera on their windshield, which is picking up all the data for our usage.
Okay.
Good. And also make sure that our street light is operable on the east side, correct? Good deal. All right, do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Motion by Vice Mayor Cano, second by Councilmember Perez. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Ayllon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayllon,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, moving on to item number 10, approve a resolution number 2025-9, accepting lowest responsive bidder on award of contract to Johnson Drilling Company in the amount of $320,135 for the drilling of a new test water well for the new water well project, and approving an appropriation of $80,000 for construction.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Can we take her off, please? Thank you. Your lease?
Honorable Mayor, City Council members, on October 14th of 2024, the City of McFarland received and executed an agreement securing funding in the amount of $8.5 million through the State Water Board for the construction of a new water well. The first phase in this construction of a new water well is to construct a temporary test well in order to determine the water quality at different depths. On December 7th of 2024, staff put out to bid the plans and specs for the drilling of this test well, which included 2 mandatory job walks for contractors to attend and visit the site where the construction will take place. There were a total of 2 addenda on this project. Addenda number 1 added an additional job walk to increase the interest of contractors, and addenda number 2 extended the bid date for the project. On January 16th at 2 p.m., sealed bids were opened by our civil engineer, D. Jasper and Associates, in the presence of a city clerk and the public works director. A total of 2 bids were received. First bidder was ABC Leoven Drilling, which came in at $343,000. And the second apparent low bidder was Johnson Drilling Company. That came in at $320,135. So our city engineer has reviewed and qualified the lowest bidder, Johnson Drilling Company, and is recommending them for award. The city is allowing 90 days for the contractor to complete this project. So the total estimated cost of construction for the test well project is $400,135, including contingencies. There's no financial impact to the general fund, as this cost will be reimbursed by the expedited drinking water grant. So staff recommends City Council approve the resolution accepting the lowest responsive bidder, award the contract, and execute a construction agreement with Johnson Drilling Company in the amount of $320,135 for the test well project. And additionally, staff recommends the approval in the amount of $80,000 for construction contingency. These funds will be utilized for the construction of a sound barrier wall during construction and any unforeseen conditions that arise. And I do have Curtis Skaggs here with D. Jasper and Associates. Before I bring him up, I do want to give some kudos to D. Jasper and Associates. The state did give us a very tight timeline to get the plans together, plans and specs together, and put it out to bid and award a contract. And to this point, we've pretty much met those deadlines. So we really appreciate your guys' hard work, Curtis.
Curtis, the podium's yours. Got like 50 questions for you. Curtis, thank you. I mean, obviously we outsourced it to the company, but outstanding work. Our staff, Diego, Public Works, this is $8.5 million for a new water well that's desperately needed here. We need about 2 more, and that's coming. But have you ever worked with this company before, with Johnson? Yes?
Yeah, we've done multiple test wells with this company. They're extremely qualified, probably one of the best firms. If we had our pick of the litter, this would be a company that we'd want to work with.
And what locations are we currently looking at right now?
So they're drilling a well on the west side of Highway 99 and the south side of Elmo Highway, just to the west of the medical center that's there.
Yeah.
And so we'll be drilling down to approximately 900 feet and looking at every sand formation that we encounter. If it produces water, we want to test it.
And can you explain why those locations were picked? Is due to the fact of the other old wells?
The north end of town, from our hydrogeologist, his previous work in the area, recommends the north end because it appears to have decent water quality. We know we're going to probably encounter TCP and nitrate in the shallow water. There's a high likelihood we'll encounter arsenic in the deeper water. So we're looking for a target zone in between the shallow water and the deep water where we could avoid treatment. But chances are we might encounter, the arsenic. And so out of those 3, we'd prefer to treat for arsenic.
The lesser of all 3 evils, right?
Yeah. And we already have a treatment plant for that, so city staff's familiar with how it operates. We're familiar with the cost.
And what do you see in the time frame when it'll be up and running?
The water well facility itself?
2 years?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Council, do we have any questions? We'll start with Ms. Gonzalez.
No, I have none, thank you.
Ms. Perez?
No questions.
Mr. Leon?
No question.
Vice Mayor? Just once again, let me open up to the public. Anybody from the public want any questions, concerns regarding this well? Go ahead, Mr. Woods. Come on up. I'll let you, you can introduce yourself. I already did.
Ron Woods, 13053 Garzoli. I hope I'm not the oldest one in town, but some of you should recognize that Johnson Drilling is a McFarland company. And the children of Jerry Waddell, who are operating it now, went to McFarland High School, went to all schools here. So it's keeping business locally, too.
Well, how about a discount, if you know them?
You'll have to talk to them about that.
Send me that name and number.
I've got it.
Well, name that well after them. How about that?
There you go.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wood. Anyone else? Okay. Once again, thank you, Curtis. Appreciate the effort. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Mayor Cano, second by Councilmember Perez. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call?
Mayor Ayon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Moving on to 11, approval of resolution 2025-5, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McFarland authorizing the application of development impact fee and authorizing the reimbursement for public improvement pursuant to the terms of the agreement between the City of McFarland and Shatter Medical Plaza LLC. We have Mr. Saldana presenting the report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. This item is an item that has been before you before. The city had entered into a reimbursement agreement with the McFarland Medical Center for reimbursement of public improvements and the inclusion of their development impact fee credit. This agreement outlined the specific improvements that they needed to develop, as well as additional improvements that the city required, which were subject to the reimbursement agreement. All improvements have been completed and been accepted by the Public Works Department and the city engineer. Last year, the developer requested an additional $47,000 roughly in reimbursement. At that time, the city council tabled that request. As I said, subsequently, the project has been completed. The developer has requested now an $82,000 and $638 request over and above the amount that has been agreed to by the city in the original agreement. This is a $35,000 request over and above what the developer requested a year ago. At this point, if the total amount above the reimbursement agreement would be $85,439.39. Staff is recommending that the council approve the amounts that were in the original reimbursement agreement, as well as the credit for the development impact fee. And those are listed, as I said, $85,439.39 for the reimbursement and $60,051.60 for the development impact fee credit. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Council, do we have any questions? We'll start with Ms. Gonzalez.
No, I don't have any.
Ms. Perez?
No, none.
Mr. Ayon?
No questions.
Vice Mayor?
So it's $85,439.39 and $60,000 that we originally approved?
So that is correct. Those are the two amounts that were approved. The first amount is the $85,000 is a reimbursement agreement, so that's actually money that we would pay out from the traffic development impact fund account, and then the $60,000 would be is basically a credit. That was what they did not pay for the development impact fee, so it serves as a credit on that regard.
Okay. Paul, refresh my memory. This is the company that was asking for the reimbursement for the extension to the pipe, or is that what we're discussing right now, or we're just talking about the development agreement?
This is the one. So this is the medical plaza.
Yeah.
And this is the request for the additional funds was for the relocation of the sewer and the water line that they uncovered during construction, as well as the cost overruns that occurred during the time of construction.
But isn't it their cost, not the city's?
There were some costs that would have been attributable to them, correct? But there were additional costs that the city had agreed to, since they were already doing the street improvements. We had agreed at the time to some additional improvements on our behalf.
And your staff recommendation is to pay what the agreement stated, right?
Pay only what the agreement has stated and not the additional amount that they incurred.
Okay, I'm good with that. Okay, before we make, does anybody from the public have any questions, concerns regarding this item? No? Do we have a motion, or, Mr. Viramontes, do you want to add to this? No, I don't have anything. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve and pay what's on the development agreement only, not anything else?
I motion to pay the original agreement.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Cano, second by Councilmember Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, moving on to item number 12, receive and file the City of McFarland audited financial statements for the period that ended in June 30th, 2024. Mr. Viramontes.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. This evening, the City Council will receive a presentation on the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2024 from Principal Brianne Weiss of Clifton Larson and Allen LLP, or CLA. The city's independent auditor, who is the city's independent auditor. Her presentation will provide an overview of the audit process and where we stand at the end of the fiscal year. CLA has issued an unmodified opinion confirming that McFarland's financial statements are fairly presented in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Following the presentation, staff recommends that council receive and file the audited financial statements as presented. So without further ado, I'll welcome Ms. Weiss up to the stand.
Well, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Do we have the presentation handy? All right. Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm
No problem. Well, as Diego said, I am here today to present the results of the 2024 financial statement audit for the city, and we'll jump right to the next slide. This is a very quick agenda. As Diego mentioned, I'm going to go through the audit scope and process, tell you the results of the audit, which he stole my thunder a little bit, briefly discuss some emerging issues and some upcoming standards for your information. Next slide. Okay, the audit scope. So we were engaged by the city to perform an audit on the financial statements of the city to also ensure that the city has internal controls that are operating effectively over the financial reporting aspect in accordance with government auditing standards, to issue a report to those here today, those charged with governance, that solidifies our conclusions, and then also a report over internal controls over your financial or federal awards. So we performed all 4 of those reports for you, and we will discuss those results in the next slide. Well, maybe not this slide, the next slide after that. We'll go back to that one. The audit process. So our audit process is really a risk-based approach, which means that we consider all the facts that happen at the city through our discussions with management during the course of the year, as well as our history with the city, and we determine the areas that we think are most susceptible to a risk of material misstatement, and we apply heightened procedures to those audit areas. We do audit all areas of the financial statements that we are deemed material, which is based on the revenues and assets of the city. I've highlighted here a couple of the areas. This is not an exclusive list of the things that we audited. These are just the areas that probably got the most scrutiny during the audit. First is the internal controls, largely related to that report I mentioned over internal controls over financial reporting. The revenue recognition of the city, for whatever reason, the GASB has made it incredibly complicated to recognize revenue properly, so that's an area that we always focus on, as well as accounts receivable accruals. That sort of ties right into the revenue recognition accrual, so that's something that goes hand in hand. And leases and SBITAs, this is new standards. I think leases was 2022 and SBITAs was 2023. So those are still relatively new, so we apply some increased procedures on those given the relative newness. But I expect that that will fall off in the next couple of years. Moving on. All right, so our results. We issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements, which is essentially a clean opinion, which is as good as it gets. Yes, congratulations, round of applause. Spat. And we also issued an unmodified opinion on the federal awards, so also a clean audit on those federal awards. So great job. I feel like it's for me, but it's not.
We have some of our.
Okay. We did have, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. We did have two items to note, one in the financial statement audit for an improvement and one in the financial awards for an improvement. So I'm going to talk about those in the next slide. All right, so in the course of the financial statement audit, we identified 4 items for improvement with the city. Almost all of them, except the last one, relate to revenue recognition and the AR process, what I had mentioned earlier. So you can read them on the screen, but it's a variety of different reasons. Some revenue was recognized when it hadn't met the criteria. Some revenue was recognized in 24, should have been recognized in 23. And then related to the AR, some things were recorded in AR and shouldn't have been, and some things were not recorded in AR and they should have been. So they kind of offset. So those all really kind of related to the same AR revenue recognition process. And then the last one there in the last box there was related to the SBITAs that I had mentioned earlier. And those that aren't up on the GASB lingo, SBITA means subscription-based information technology agreements. So your fancy little AI situation might be a SBITA. But there were 4 of those that were incorrectly identified as SBITAs that did not meet the requirement because they were 12 months or less, which is the term that SBITAs, the GASB has said, does not qualify as SBITAs. So those were the areas that we identified, corrected by management during the audit. The next one here related to the federal awards. This is a significant deficiency in which 2 vendors were paid out of federal awards, and there doesn't appear to have been multiple quotes, or if the case when there's not multiple quotes, there wasn't enough documentation to support why multiple quotes weren't necessary for that process. So that was an item that we had noted. You can go ahead. So that really concludes the results of the audit. These next couple slides talk about future-looking things. I'm going to pause there to see if there's any questions on the results.
You know what, just
Should
go
we
ahead
just plow
and
through
then
it?
I'll open it up to the public
Sure.
and then when the council,
Okay.
therefore it's, we're not going back and forth.
Sure, sounds good. So this will be pretty quick. The auditing standards have changed lately. The newest ones are 143, 144, and 145. And really those have increased the audit documentation and requirements related to estimates and IT. So I'm sure Diego and Jonathan had a lot of conversations with us about their estimates and about their IT processes, which I'm sure that they thoroughly enjoyed. Moving on. This is the upcoming GASB standards. Again, I'm only going to talk really about the one that's applicable next year, which is GASB 101, and this is compensated absences. Compensated absences are essentially your vacation and sick leave, the accruals that go on your books. And while GASB has made revenue recognition very complicated, they seem very convinced to make compensated absences accruals as complicated as revenue recognition. So this is a new complicated standard, which will likely increase the liabilities on the books of the city in fiscal year 25. And the rest of this is really just informational, and I'm not going to go through it. On one of the very last slides, there's a little QR code in case anybody was interested in getting some nighttime reading on these new GASBs, but that will conclude my presentation.
Thank you. I'm going to open up to the public. Does anybody have any questions, concerns regarding our audits, our financial statements? Ms. Weiss is here, independent auditor, before I close it to the public. Seeing none, the council, we'll start with Ms. Gonzalez. Do you have any questions, concerns, Ms. Gonzalez?
No, I'm just really pleased to hear what I heard, and great job to the accounting team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Perez?
I have no questions or comments, but pleased as well.
Mr. Ione?
No comments.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, no comments. Thank you.
No, thank you, Ms. Weiss. How long you been working for Clifton Larson Arlen?
I've been there about
If you
a
mind me
year.
asking.
No, that's fine. I've been there about a year, but before that I had worked at another firm for 20 years.
Okay. So obviously you don't know the history.
I've heard.
You've heard. So you see the council smile with having clean audits and actually performing audits, because you might have heard we didn't have audits for like 5 years.
Yes, I've heard it all, I think.
Yeah. I know these findings are very minute, but you have to find something, and that keeps people on their toes, and basically our staff. But I want to thank you for coming out all the way from SAC or
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
Yep.
Okay, they're branching out, and thank you for the transparency.
Yes.
And then I want to thank our finance department. I want to thank our city manager slash finance director that carries two jobs and saves the city money so we could hire other positions to find other opportunities. But thank you so much for coming out.
Yes, indeed.
With that, we'll just receive and file. We don't have to motion for it, but thank you so much for.
Thank you.
And have a safe trip.
Thank you.
Blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, moving on to item number 13, approval resolution 2025-6, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McFarland approving the creation of an economic development manager position through June 30, 2025, and approving a budget adjustment to the general fund of $38,976.80. Mr. Viramontes.
Honorable Mayor and Council, staff is proposing the creation of an economic development manager position through the end of the fiscal year to support economic growth, strategic planning, and community development initiatives. This role will oversee major projects such as the Southwest Industrial Area Specific Plan, General Plan and Zoning, ordinance updates, annexation efforts, and business expansion initiatives, while also identifying grant opportunities and facilitating public-private partnerships. The cost for the remainder of the fiscal year, which includes benefits, salary, and payroll taxes, is $38,976.80. Staff recommends approval of this position and corresponding budget adjustment with a reevaluation before the end of the fiscal year to determine potential continuation. And I might note there are some, I did not include this in the staff report, but we do have some savings in the department due to some vacancies, so that will offset this additional cost through the end of the fiscal year.
So there was no needed appropriations.
That is correct. Okay, right. So with that, I'm open to any questions council or the public may have.
Okay, public, do we have any questions, concerns regarding this position? Seeing none. Council, Ms. Gonzalez,
No.
Ms. Perez,
None.
Mr. Leon,
None.
Vice Mayor.
So Mr. Saldana will be the manager for the economic department? Community development director? Or, I'm sorry, he'll be our economic development manager, right?
If the next item is approved, and or first this item, then the next, yes.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
I have no questions, comments. I've looked up the staff report. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion?
Motion by Councilmember Perez, second by Councilmember Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gano,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Now moving on to item 14, approval of resolution 2025-7, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McFarland approving the employment agreement between the city and Paul Saldana for economic development manager position. Mr. Vice Mayor, you have a question? Question?
Yeah, we already rolled into this one, I guess, on the last item, but
Well, go ahead, Mr. Viramonte.
yes, with the approval of the creation of the economic development manager position, we are hoping to leverage Paul Saldana, who is our current community development director, serving in this capacity at the moment. We hope to leverage his experience to drive economic growth, business attraction, and strategic partnerships. This position will focus on implementing economic development initiatives, securing grant funding, and promoting McFarland as a business-friendly community while continuing to support ongoing development projects. As mentioned in the previous item, the cost through the end of the fiscal year is $38,976.80. So staff recommends approval of this agreement to ensure continuity and progress in the city's economic development efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Viramontes. I'm going to open up to the public if they have any questions, concerns regarding this position.
Ron Woods, listening to his statement about this position, what have you, does that negate the position he has now?
He will be transitioning to this new role.
Transitioning into
Yes.
the new role, so the one he has now will be a lesser role.
that.
I wouldn't
say that, but
Well,
but this role will focus on specific projects, as well as assisting city manager's office on other economic development efforts. But we have some specific projects lined up for this position.
Mr. Woods, we have some big item tickets that Mr. Saldana has. It's a transition position, but
I understand that, and it was my understanding when he came on board that he had a lot of experience.
It still does.
Coming from Shafter and the development that he created for them. Yeah. And when I first met him, I said, I hope you're going to be able to do for us what you did for Shafter.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a couple of years down the road, so now it's going to be implemented. Huh?
That's correct.
That's the idea.
I mean, we really can't talk about personnel, but staying on. So, thank you, Mr. Woods. Is there any other questions, concerns from the public? Council, we'll start with Ms. Gonzalez.
No.
Ms. Perez.
None.
Shayon.
None.
Vice Mayor.
None.
No questions for me. Do I have a motion to approve item number 14?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Cano, second by Councilmember Ayon. Madam Clerk, may I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now moving on to item 15, approval of resolution number 2025-8, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McFarland approving the employment agreement between the city and Megan Snyder for the Community Development Director position. Mr. Viramontes.
Honorable Mayor and Council, staff recommends approving an employment agreement with Megan Snyder as the new Community Development Director. Following a thorough recruitment process, she has extensive experience in municipal operations, economic development, and community engagement. Ms. Snyder has held leadership roles in Arvin, including acting assistant city manager. Her expertise in urban planning, business partnerships, and workforce policy will enhance McFarland's growth and civic engagement. The position's annual salary is $105,000, which does not change from the previous individual that was holding this role, with costs allocated across planning, community development, and building inspection. Staff recommends approval to support the city's ongoing development and community enrichment efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Viramontes. Do we have any questions, concerns from the public regarding this position, this item? Seeing none. Council, we'll start with Ms. Perez. Do we have any questions, concerns?
No, none.
Ms. Gonzalez?
No.
Mr. Ayon?
None.
Mr. Cano?
No.
Do I have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second.
I have a first and a second by Ms. Councilmember Gonzalez, second by Vice Mayor Cano. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano.
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon.
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez.
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving on to item 16, approval of resolution number 2025-11, a resolution of the City Council of the City of McFarland approving an agreement with Flock Safety to add additional license plate reader cameras and surveillance cameras and authorizing a budget adjustment to the general fund. Chief Knox.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, before you is a resolution to approve additional Flock cameras placed in strategic areas within the city. Since November of 2022, we have implemented 20 Flock cameras within the city. These are license plate reader cameras that monitor the traffic inside and as vehicles ingress and egress out of the city. They capture license plates and also type of vehicles that the police department can then go and search and locate vehicles that are involved in criminal activity. Specifically, they are designed to catch license plates, which has assisted us in locating numerous stolen vehicles and solving 2 different murders, not only within our city, but in the city of Delano. We share these cameras and the system with other local law enforcement agencies, and these cameras routinely yield good results in solving our crimes. So going before you, we have located 11 different areas where we would like to add 11 Flock cameras and some high-resolution surveillance cameras. Several of the local business districts, the new food court district, downtown next to the Rite Aid, We'll put high-resolution cameras that can capture not only license plate readers, but also assist us in addressing criminal activity. So the financial impact to the city would be $46,400 for fiscal year 24 and 25, and an additional $40,800 for fiscal year 25-26 on a 2-year contract. Staff recommends that the city council discuss and possibly approve flock camera system additions and authorize the necessary budget adjustment. I'm available for any questions.
Okay. I'm going to open up to the public if you have any questions, concerns regarding this new addition to. Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment. Do we have any council comments? We'll start with Ms. Perez.
What areas are the cameras going to cover now?
So there's more areas on Garzoli Avenue. We had some gaps in our surveillance where we weren't capturing vehicles that were traveling either northbound or westbound, depending on where the cameras were positioned. So we addressed those gaps to close those gaps and capture more vehicles. What we had was a couple different incidents where a vehicle involved in a violent crime got into our area and then got out without us being able to capture and see where it went. So we wanted to close those gaps. Specifically, I'd have to, the food court be a high resolution area, across from the Rite Aid be high resolution, Crane Bay Park.
And the new development.
And the new development will also be captured with a flock camera.
Thank you.
Ms. Gonzalez?
No, I don't have any. Thank you.
Mr. Ayon?
No questions, thank you.
Vice Mayor?
No questions.
Just one question, Chief. Did we get that discount?
Yes, we did. Yes, that was at your request, sir.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. It's cost savings. So just to report, if you ever see a camera down or anything, report it to the city. That's the one we're talking about, yeah. That's why we got a discounted rate. Yeah. So now we have a timely, agreement to be here within 3 days. So, somewhat. Thank you, Gino. Next time, phone call away. All right. With that, do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ayon, second by Vice Mayor Cano. Madam Clerk, may I have roll call, please?
Mayor Ayon,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cano,
Aye.
Councilmember Ayon,
Aye.
Councilmember Gonzalez,
Aye.
Councilmember Perez.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. That ends all the items for the administrative agenda. Moving on to public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the council about any item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Speakers are limited to 2 minutes for each person. 15 minutes total will be allowed for any one subject. Excuse me. Please state your name and address for the record prior to making a presentation. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody for public comment?
Yes, we have received one by the name of Tim Gonzalez.
Tim Gonzalez, 736 Cosmo Court. First of all, I'll say great job on item 10. It's about time that we're going to finally get a new well and stuff, and so I commend you for that. My question is that I saw on the website it says specifically that you have to live in District 2, and you guys all voted for us to go into districts. And now I see that you appointed somebody who lives in District 1 into District 2. How is that being fair to the community when we did have an applicant that lives in District 2 put his application in? And only asking also, because he did go put his application in on a Friday, but you guys apparently were having a special meeting to appoint the person that lives in District 1 into that District 2, when it specifically says that you have to live in District 2 to put your application in. And then he did receive a letter saying that he wasn't the one that was picked. So why is that? I'm asking a question, Mayor.
No, I know.
Okay.
To the Brown Act, we really can't respond, but we'll respond when we have our council comments. This is your time.
Oh, so once I'm done,
We'll get there.
you'll get there? Okay.
Yeah. I just want to give you your 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. But that was my question. Why are we putting somebody in District 1 into District 2? That was the reason we went into districts, to be able to be fair with the whole community, for other people to be in those seats. If we wanted to just stay with everybody within the community to be in those seats, then we should have not have voted to go into districts.
Right.
You know? So, I'm good.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Are you gonna answer my question, or
We'll get to it.
or that's-
Yeah, we'll get to it. Is there anybody else for public comment? See none. I'm going to be closing public comment. Okay. We'll start with council comments. We'll start with Ms. Gonzalez,
I have none.
Ms. Perez,
No comments.
Mr. Ione,
I have no comments.
Vice Mayor.
No comments.
All right. Specifically regarding, since this is why we brought up council comments, so we don't violate the Brown Act, to address those questions, so you're not left out there like other municipalities do. The reason the person was appointed is that District 2 was open for several months. Nobody ever ran for it. Nobody ever put their name. We put it out on the website. We posted it. At the time, we had a deadline to meet. Some of us were going to be out of the state, so we didn't know we were going to have a quorum to vote, to appoint, not to select, or nobody had applied. And at the time, we had the special meeting. The individual that did apply went to our staff, and our staff said they got it 15 minutes till the special meeting. They didn't have any time to vet that individual before our special meeting. So that was one of the I don't want to say requirements, but the other one was our city clerk asked the individual, hey, you want to come to the city council to explain your position and stuff like that? And the response was, I don't know what the response was. I have a soccer game or soccer practice. So to me, it was like, there's an individual that had applied already for 45 days that had a lot of experience. And if they didn't meet the deadline going through the district or the zoning, we have the opportunity to appoint somebody or leave it vacant. So if you look at the ordinance and you look at am I clear on that, Nate, as far as
If this position's not appointed, it would remain vacant
okay.
until the next election.
So I hope that answers your questions, Mr. Gonzalez.
Can I say anything back?
Not really, because we're not going to go back and forth, but
Well, no, because I want to put clarification on the whole thing, if I can, Mayor.
if I allow you, then I'm going to have to allow everybody else. But go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez. You're the only one that came up for public comment. Huh? Yeah. We can set up a meeting tomorrow or the next day. So,
Well, I mean, it's just a quick question. I mean, can you tell you the right situation that occurred?
go
2 minutes and that's it, or probably not even 2 minutes?
just go ahead and go ahead and give me the response or the question.
Want me to go up there?
Yeah.
Well, at the last council meeting, I did come. I did ask the city clerk after the meeting was over, when's the last day you could put in an application? And she goes, next week. So the gentleman did follow that right there, but he went on Friday to put it in and make sure it was going to be ready for next week. And then, well, apparently you guys had a special meeting for it to fill that seat and stuff. So how is that he got kicked out because he was doing what we asked the city clerk how much time he had, and he did put it in at the right time because we thought he had until the following week to put it in. So that even though it was up for 45 days, it specifically says on the website that you have to live in District 2.
So what happened
be there.
between those 45 days and the election time? I mean, is this
It
individual?
didn't have a deadline. There was no deadline on there either on the website saying there was a deadline. But like I said, we did ask the city
We
clerk.
did have a deadline to meet it at February 4th, correct?
I didn't see that on there.
Whenever there's a vacancy, there's a.
You can't hear Nate, you can't hear the.
Sorry. Whenever there's a vacancy on a council seat, there is a 60-day window to fill that vacancy. And if you don't fill that vacancy, you basically leave the seat open. You're left with no options because the government code provides like several different categories of filling it. And because there's not a majority that have already been appointed, it would fall under subclass A of the appointment process, which gives them 60 days to either appoint or to call a special election. And a special election, it costs typically between $30,000 and $50,000. So it's better to appoint than call a special election, especially when they just had an election and nobody ran. So I think that's the reason that they move forward in order to fill it in the time period that's required by the law, or it remains vacant.
Can I provide a statement?
Yeah.
So I said turn it in as fast as you can or within next week, and it was projected till the next week, so that's why we had to have this special meeting. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to come back in time to fill that vacancy. That's
But he
the
did-
reasoning.
From Wednesday to Friday, he did go on that Friday to turn in the application.
Yes.
So we were,
Okay.
he was, okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Mr. Gonzalez. It just doesn't give our city staff enough time to,
So are we bending the rules to put somebody from another district into a district that you guys voted on for us to go to districts?
nobody's bending the rules here.
How not, Mayor, if you're letting somebody from a District 1 go into District 2?
We're not letting, she applied.
And so did the gentleman, sir.
Right. But the application, when was it submitted? And where's are you the spokesman or is?
Well, I'm a citizen of the community and stuff, and I
Okay.
mean, I'm just.
I would like to hear from
would-
the person that applied.
Yes, I did apply on that day. I also did it. I'm also involved in the community. I've had discussions with some board members before, and I did. I'll tell you the truth. I did till that Wednesday when I showed up at the city council where my son was recognized for cross country. I did. I talked to some people online. They said, hey, they asked me, hey, you live in District 2? And I go, I guess I do. And they said, oh, go ahead and apply. And I told them, we were out there with Mr. White, and I go, when's the deadline? I asked, when's the deadline, right? So I am, obviously, Councilman Ion is a coach. I said, I can't, on Thursday I couldn't go because I had a soccer event. I did not find out that there was a special meeting. I told them, I turned in the application, and I told them, you know what, it's a couple of questions that I asked her. I'll tell you the truth. I already felt that you guys already knew who you guys were going to pick as a citizen, kind of, but with like little comments from various conversations that I've had within the city. But I was here. Most of them, I don't know. I remember who you were when I was younger, but you probably don't know where I'm from. But I'm interested. I was interested in the job. It's something that we're here to serve our community. You're here to serve. All five of you guys are here, but I did apply for that position. Not that not serving on the council was going to be not important, but I did. I told them I'm a coach. You made it seem like it wasn't important to me. It is important to me.
I'm not making it seem like it's not important. I don't know how you feel.
No, because you said that I couldn't stick around to stay for the special meeting. But you said because I had to go to soccer practice or something. Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was stated to us.
Oh yeah. I did tell them.
So, obviously, I don't make the decision. We have a council.
Yeah, of course.
And Ms. Perez has more than qualified and experience and been on for 6 years, been through the rough way, and you had opportunity to run for 7-8 months through the election process. I mean, there's different circumstances. I'm not here to tell you how to do it and stuff like that. We appreciate the sincerity of coming up and wanting to be part of a council member. So,
yes, the only reason there's no representation on the east side. Right, I live on the east side of town. Okay, that's another thing I didn't say. That's one of the things that I'm hoping. I feel like if our east side of town still gets sometimes neglected, but.
No, well, I would really disagree with you on that point.
I know, your parents live with your dad.
We've invested a lot on the east side the last couple of years.
No, I just know, but personnel. As a resident of the east side, that's what I mean. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Then what was, Martin, last name?
Gutierrez.
Gutierrez.
487 Brunswick.
Thank you, Martin.
Okay.
We'll have a conversation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anybody else? Since I opened it up for, thank you. That ends our public comment and council comments. Now reports from city council, committee, and special districts. Kernan, DC. Paul, do you have anything to report from Kernan, DC?
Just that the board met last week and reviewed the strategic plan for, the upcoming strategic plan for this coming year. And that will be the focus of the next meeting.
Thank you, Paul. LAFCO, we have a meeting in 2 weeks, current local agency formation. That's the only thing I have to report. The Delano Mosquito Abatement, Vice Mayor.
We have a meeting on February 20th at 11:30. Coming up.
Thank you. San Joaquin Valley Air Pollution, we have a meeting at the end of this month regarding some big items for here in the Central Valley. And then moving on to Public Policy and Finance Committee, we have Ms. Gonzalez.
Yes, we had a meeting today. First, we have shut-offs on the 19th. Excuse me. And as far as our numbers go for our aging account, they're going down pretty good. January of last year, we had a $600,000, excuse me, $600,000 in the aging, and we're now down to 134. Also, you guys may have received your bills already, and you did see a rate increase. It was something that was implemented for the 5-year study that we did, and that started in 2024. They will revisit this plan in 2028 for these rate increases. If you guys have any questions in regards to that rate increase, you can visit Diego there at City Hall. And then we did order some new meters. 15 came in. There's a lot of broken meters out there, and we're trying to fix those as quickly as we receive the new ones. Thank you. That's about it.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Now, for Public Safety Committee, we didn't have one. We'll have one at the end of the month. And then to report a Quality of Life Committee.
Well, with that, Chief had an extensive list of things that are going on. As far as our dog pound out there, there's a big number of dogs there. We need people to go in and hopefully they can adopt them. There was a program bought on there to track all the dogs. Cost $380. The goal is to eventually build additional rooms there. Maybe even a break room because there's none and there's more staffing there. Let me look here. And that just kind of sums it up. Pretty much it.
All right, thank you. Moving on to council statements and reports. On their own initiative, council members may make a brief announcement or brief report on their own activities. In addition, council members may ask a question to staff or the public for clarification on any matter, provide a reference to staff or other resources for information. Alternatively, request staff to report to the city council at a later meeting concerning any matter. Furthermore, the city council or any member thereof may take action to direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. We'll start with Ms. Gonzalez.
I don't have much to say, but just thank you all for coming and taking the time and sitting here through a very long meeting. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. Ms. Perez.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank my family, and especially my husband. He's been with me through all this time, and he knows how much time it takes to be away from the family, and he's always been very supportive with that. My family is here, my sister, my brother-in-law, my niece, and my nephew. My best friend is here, so I really want to thank them for being here. And I think we are doing great things. Like I've said before, in the 6 years that I've been here, this is really a lot that we've accomplished. The animal shelter, the police department, the finance, the audits, the water board coming and visiting McFarland. I don't think that's happened ever. and which is how we got the monies for the well as well. The streets department doing a great job. Community safety, social media, all the information being available to the community. And that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Mr. Ayon?
As Ms. Perez stated, kind of took some of my words on there, but thank you to everyone that's here, for all the departments and everybody else that's involved with the city. Thank you for all your hard work and your commitment to McFarland. It's much appreciated, and thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Ayon. Vice Mayor?
Just want to continue the recognition of our investigating department, police department for the great work on, the homicide case and in every case that they continue to work. Of course, the police department put their lives out there for us every day. Thankfully, our city is much calmer. The finance department, great job on the audit, of course. Every department, thank you for everything you're doing. Just want to, bring out that comment, representation on the east side. I grew up on the east side. I think the whole council grew up on the east side. And the east side is important to us. It's our backbone. It's where we come from. I grew up on 305 Fernwood Street. And I think it's important to me, and I still travel to that area and visit friends and family. So I think we have representation for every side. So thank you guys for being here tonight, and have a nice evening.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'm going to use this time to talk about transparency and different entities in our city. Transparency is bringing trust and accountability with our local government. Let me just tell you, in 2024, this past year, this council has had over 64 meetings, special meetings, subcommittee meetings, council meetings. You name it, it's a lot of time invested. I'm going to tell you about another entity in our city. It's McFarland Parks and Rec. They've had 8 meetings, 8 total meetings. That's another example of lack of transparency. We're the only entity that televises, where you could actually go back and see what we do, where people can attend. They could go back and see what's going on with your taxpayers' money. No other Parks and Rec does not do that. The city council takes necessary steps to record, and the residents know what's going on with the city. I'm not going to talk about what went on before, but you could go back, view it 2 months, what I said, where our council, and if I was wrong, I'll be the first to admit it. But this is what's important for the decisions that impact our community. Another issue I have is, board member Mr. Gonzalez stated, we're bending the rules. That's one thing we don't do. We don't bend the rules. Why doesn't the Parks and Rec department follow the city? Since we've been televising this for 4 years, to be transparent with our community and our residents, to show where their taxpayers' money is going. It's harder for residents to understand. They can't separate for wherever. I've talked to pillars of the community. They think that we run the Parks and Rec, which is completely not accurate. It's a special district. It's disappointing that this has to go on, but I want to be transparent with everybody. And let's talk about transparency. The discrepancy raises important questions regarding resources and funding. Let's be clear. The city council, I want to be clear on our agendas. Okay, I'm going to show you the Parks and Rec's agenda. And this is their agenda right here. Every meeting you go to, go ahead and just pull up the agenda. Go down.
Oh, pull up, sorry.
That's one page. Is that transparency, people? Does that show pay old bills? Does it go anywhere? Now I'm going to show you what the city council agenda is. It's over 1,000 pages. It says who we pay, how much we pay, how much our department heads get, how much our city manager gets, and we're able to save money because some of them have dual roles. Now, I was very disappointed with the report that came out about a month ago when I expected the board members to actually say something. There was a measure S that didn't pass for a sales tax. the report stated that it was going to cost $1 million. That wasn't very accurate. When that measure said it was for $15 million. So which one is it? Was it 1 million or 15 million? And another thing is, if we're going to be transparent and not bend the rules, we might as well admit to it. So, and here's another example of transparency is look, our auditors came today, no findings, unmodified, did a whole presentation. This is what I want to talk to people, because this is recorded. I want to make sure that the message is heard. I don't go around town talking about people saying this and this and that. You got to have the receipts and the documentation. And if people don't like the approach, we're getting the job done. It might not be the best approach, but people that what I've learned about this position, if you make everybody happy, you're not doing your job. So at the end of the day, I'm here for all the residents, east side, west side, everybody. We're here to make this community better. Our council's here to make our community better. Our staff, we have a total of 65 new staff since 2020, and you residents that live here, you see the difference. You see the difference with the community, the roads, and it's getting there. But it's sad that we have to go this route to be transparent. But I just don't want to tell you. I want to show you, and that's the difference between politicians and statesmen. But with that, do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, sorry. I want to report our attorney for closed session. Hold on. I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope we have the same attendance our next meeting. If you have any questions, interviews, I will make myself available after 3:30. But anybody that wants to meet, I'm always available. I'm flexible, but give me some time. But thank you so much. Everybody stay safe. The weather's getting a little bit colder, the rain, but fog should be coming in. I want to thank everybody for attending. And then our attorney's going to report on our closed session.
We're going into closed session. So during closed session, council discussed item 17, the conference with real property negotiations pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Property is 3178 Hannawalt Avenue. Agency negotiation is put on by the Community Development Director and the City Manager. The negotiating parties is Westar Dairy, and the negotiation is for the price. And item 18 is a conference with real property negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. Property is 200 Harlow Avenue. Agency negotiations by the Community Development Director, and the negotiating party is Jose Cervantes. Under negotiation is the price and terms.
Thank you. Moving on, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
I'm sorry, not adjourn, going into closed session. I got a little rattled. Nathan? Okay, that ends our regular meeting. Thank you for attending, everybody. Have a good night.